And you're very welcome back to the Lads Podcast. This is episode 8. I'm Daragh.
And I'm Ben Keaton, who in fact is actually the patron that we're supposed to shout out this week. How's it going, Ben? Straight into the Patreon thing. So, yeah, sorry, your name is...
So today's podcast is about...
it's about Ben Keaton. Yeah. So, Ben, as we do every week, we shout out a patron.
Just straight in, no kissing.
Oh, fuck him, man.
Fair play.
Fuck him. We're halfway through now.
Halfway through what?
So, every... just
life.
One sec there, boy. I just have to finish my bit.
Thanks, Steve.
So... Every week, as you know, we shout out if there's any new patrons to the podcast. And this week there is, and Ben Keaton is our new patron. So yeah, look, Ben, your name was just written there in my notes, and you know how bad I am at intros at this stage. So when Daragh said, I'm Steve, now. I was like, fuck him, no, I'll get him.
Took the bull by the horns.
And just
made it your own.
Rode the bull.
Rode the bull.
Yeah.
Brilliant. This week's episode is on conspiracy theories. Ooh. This is something we want to do for it. This is something we've wanted. Shut up.
No,
shut your mouth. This is something we wanted to do for ages, and we'll probably do like a mini series every couple of weeks, every month or so. We'll come back and talk more conspiracy theories because it's something you can never not talk about. So this is part 1, sure. Of Conspiracy Land.
Yes.
But before we get into it, Daragh, how are you? I'm good, man. Yeah, good week. What are you looking at? What are you fucking looking at?
The interface there. Saw a bit of orange there in your...
How's your week, boy? What's the story?
Week was fine, man. Flew because I'm off work, so when you're off work, time goes by like that.
And when you're in work, time also goes by...
Yeah, but it's more sad.
Incredibly fast. It's just sad time.
It's more sad. It's like,
that's the thing we didn't cover in our time travel podcast, is 2 types of time. There's happy time and sad time. We'll do that. We'll do
you all know
about
that.
You do. No, they do know. We don't need to do a podcast
there's
on happy and sad time.
You just know that's the rule of time. Sad and happy.
Yeah. Sorry, so you had a sad time. Happy time this week.
Had a happy time, yeah.
That's good.
Well, I'm trying to think, did I fucking do anything? Yeah, I've seen a few people who I don't normally see. I know.
Not me people, Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing seeing not me people?
What have I done this week? I actually feel like I've done nothing now that I'm at it, because it's like, Jesus,
Friday
already.
You're working on your Steve's work.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm still working even though I'm off work.
But this is like the little thing as people who listen to the podcast week in, week out, because we're not stopping.
No.
It'll be cool, like in a couple of months, Steve will be moved in, and sure, I fucking moved out.
I was just going to ask how your week's been, because I know what you've been up to.
Yeah.
Moving out.
Yeah, Jesus. So I moved out in the last week. I got the keys last Saturday, and I moved in like Tuesday, Wednesday, moving stuff in. I work from home, so I built a desk, got all my bits in, and I've been living there. I've spent the last 3 nights there, and I've moved out of the parents' house. What a twist.
You got a lot of meaning out of building that desk, didn't you?
I did.
You wouldn't shut up about it.
My first desk, boy. Leave me alone.
I'm so happy about his desk.
I know, yeah. So
wait till you build your first scaffold now.
That's next week. That's next week. We'll build a scaffold around the house.
That's what we'll do.
But no, it's great. It's a brilliant experience. So far so good.
Sweet.
Housemates aren't sick of me yet. That's good.
Yeah, it's only a week though. They could
they
get sick of you still.
They will.
Hopefully.
'Tis brilliant. And look, I want to say thanks to everyone who's been listening to the podcast. Our friends of friends, acquaintances, and people who don't know us who are telling us either online or in person, like the podcast. That's cool.
It's very nice.
It is very nice. All about it. Thanks, lads, for listening and sharing and telling people. 'Tis ye who spreads the good word of this podcast.
That's it.
And speaking of the good word, Steve, let's get into the good word. And the good word today is...
conspiracy theories.
That's 2 words.
Fuck you. What's the good word, so?
I don't know.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you want a proper conspiracy podcast, I have to recommend, it's an Irish podcast called Those or These Conspiracy Guys. Look up Conspiracy Guys. They don't do ones often, but they're really good. They go proper deep into big ones because that's their thing.
Yeah.
So recommend those fellas. Really entertaining content. We're just like a really shit version of that.
Yeah, we're just like
we're just the lads,
of that.
Look,
we're just chatting.
Legends.
And you're just sitting here. We're just chatting down in the back house. And you're there as well.
Even though we're in Steve's parents' front room.
But you're not allowed to speak, remember that.
No talking.
That's the rule.
And yeah, this week's episode I think is going to be a little bit more fluid rather than kind of... We've always been quite good for our sections.
Yeah.
But this is just going to be... We're going to go between ones we've looked up, ones our audience have suggested, so we're kind of going to jump in between.
Just a bit free flowing.
Steve, do you want to kick us off with some conspiracy theory that took you by the hand?
Well, do you know what? Actually, the first one I looked at, because I looked through all the ones that we were suggested, and not one person, I thought it was great. Not one person, like, I was waiting, will anyone do a 5G thing,
That's too on the nose, because when I asked, I was like, guys, come on, obscure ones, because
Yeah, exactly.
9/11 inside job, 5G
Literally.
causes
Like,
AIDS.
yeah, cancer and all. But then I ended up looking up about 5G, and I was just like, this is bollocks. Like, no way can anyone make a conspiracy out of this. So we're not talking about 5G.
You can make a conspiracy out of everything. That's
You
the
can.
thing.
That's the thing.
One
But
thing as well.
I learned a lot about 5G, and it's very interesting.
Well,
We're not going to talk about
we'll do
it
that
now.
next week
Yeah,
on the
we'll talk
5G
about 5G next week.
podcast. One thing about the conspiracy theories, I think anyway, like they've become a bigger thing as... No, they've always been around, but you see, we live in an era of fake news and alternate facts.
Yeah.
That is the worst phrase of all time. So there's facts and there's alternative facts.
What are alternative facts? So
It's shit that isn't real or backed up by science or anything, but it's people saying, I don't want to believe in the science or whatever is real, and they go, I'm going to believe alternative facts. So
extremely oxymoronic phrase, isn't it?
it's apt. It's apt.
It is, because I noticed that reading into a lot of conspiracy theories and how there were, like, it's so hard to believe them now, and I guess that's with the internet and stuff. It's like, or maybe I'm just so cynical that I'm like, oh, come on, you can't believe
I like
that.
a good conspiracy theory though that I'd nearly believe though.
Oh yeah, that's what I want. But
so
they're
well
hard to
thought
find
out.
though, aren't they? Maybe you found better ones than I did, but
Yeah, I'll kick us off with one I've liked for years. Right?
I think I was going to talk about this one. Go on.
What, Bin Laden's been dead since...
He's what? No, is this about...
So the one I've always liked as a conspiracy theory, because I nearly believe it, is Bin Laden has either been dead.
Oh.
So this is Osama bin Laden.
You're actually talking about Bin Laden, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about Paul McCartney. We'll get on to him next.
I looked at it. Paul is dead as well. Bin Laden's been dead either since the 90s or since December 2001, right? I heard this one from the 90s years back. It was a case of the CIA, the US, they needed a scapegoat for 9/11 and stuff. They needed an excuse. Obviously, you know, whatever, the facts are there, but we're going conspiracy theories, guys, so bear with us. Anyway, the idea is that the US needed a scapegoat for 9/11, so they were like, we'll blame Al-Qaeda and this guy Bin Laden, right, who's their leader, and putting out a load of propaganda video. You know, he used to put out videos and stuff. That was the thing. A new tape had been released, right? And what I heard years back, I couldn't find anything online about it, about the 1990s one. Apparently he's been dead since the 90s. The idea is everything he said in his videos was quite vague, right?
Yeah.
And could be referencing something else. So
Death to Americans.
He's been saying that since day one, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, like, he would say something about, like, the fall of the towers, but he was actually, like, referencing the US bombing Lebanon or some city around there, and he was talking about Lebanese towers that were bombed.
Okay.
So people were like, he's actually, because there's nothing he
Specific.
says that's specific to a time. So I think that was one I heard years back. I couldn't find anything online though about it. So
Yeah, I didn't come across it.
now what I did come across though is that he's been dead. He was actually killed in December 2001. So when they went full on, war on terror, they, invaded Afghanistan and Iraq and all that crack. So Tora Bora, right? For context, Tora Bora was this massive complex cave system in some Afghani mountains, right, where apparently Al-Qaeda was set up. Fun fact, did you know that this was actually funded by the CIA?
No.
By the, what were they called, the fighters, the Mujahidi, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the brave Mujahidi fighters. It's like the end of Rambo is like dedicated to the brave Mujahidi fighters. The idea is back in like the 80s, it was the Soviet-Afghani war. The Soviets were trying to invade Afghanistan, and the US were like, you're not spreading that communism. So the CIA funded Afghanistan fighters, which later became essentially the likes of Al-Qaeda and ISIS and stuff. So they're like,
fuck.
Sure. The caves that they were bombing the shit out of in December 2001 were actually funded by the CIA. That's a fact.
Really, I was going to say, this is like a lot of isn't actually that much conspiracy.
No, the conspiracy. I'll get to the. Sorry, I just wanted to chat away about that.
Good background.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I know. Thank you.
You're so good.
I'm actually the best. Don't need you.
So good, man.
I don't need you at all.
You actually don't. You should sack me. I
You know
made
what?
the BBC.
Guys, comment down below in our web zone if you want Steve to leave the podcast. Anyway, the conspiracy is that there was the Battle of Tora Bora in December 2001, next year, and they bombed the shit out of it. and apparently they killed bin Laden then. But they needed a scapegoat
to keep the war going.
To fund the war.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So
Shit.
I kind of like that, and that's one I'd nearly believe.
I would too.
Remember when they killed him?
In 2010 or something.
2012, because it was just before Obama got re-elected. That was the thing, because Trump and loads of people were being like, he's not American, he's Kenyan, show us his birth certificate. Trump was the big man behind that.
That was back then, yeah, which is interesting, yeah.
And then apparently, this is all part of the conspiracy, they were like, right, we need something to get the Americans on our side, and we just killed bin Laden after all these years.
Jesus.
11 years after 9/11, we found him and we've killed him and we've thrown his body out to sea and you're not allowed to see it.
Yeah.
I remember everyone was like, what?
It was really weird. It was like, why the fuck? Like,
it was just so sketchy the way they did it. So I think it's just ripe for conspiracy theories. So that one of him being blown up, nearly 20 years ago now.
That's very interesting.
I like that as a conspiracy. Do I believe it? Yes.
Full on.
So, you can't convince me otherwise.
So is that you saying, are you so 100% that 9/11 was an inside job? And why was 9/11 committed so, if it was? Because earlier you said in passing, I said I'm going to get him.
I mean,
how did you mention it?
That's just one of the classic conspiracy, because jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Everyone knows the meme. It's not even a conspiracy, it's a meme at this stage. But what was it? It was essentially an inside job. They blew up the Twin Towers. They set up the terrorist attacks so that they could start a war, so that they could invade countries in the Middle East and steal their oil.
And I know
that's the conspiracy. That's just
it is a conspiracy and it's a meme, but do you actually believe it? I don't know.
No.
I don't either. I couldn't imagine that.
No, I mean, there's facts there. But then again, look, question everything, brother. The world order and stuff. No, I don't go around. I'm not a 9/11 denier. I am.
You should hear him down the pub, lads. It's all he does. It's all he talks about.
Investigate 3/11.
Like Daragh, come on, 3/11.
Anyway, Steve, give us a conspiracy. Let's hand it over to you.
Why don't we go on to the Paul McCartney?
Paul is dead. I love this one.
I used to love this one as well. So if you're not aware of this conspiracy theory, and you probably have a lot more, like,
I looked this up as well,
yeah, and even used to talk about it to me ages ago. I'd be like, oh, shut up, boy, will you? Between 9/11 and Paul McCartney, like. So like, it's actually funny. It's one of the most enduring conspiracy theories ever.
Yeah. It's a big one on pop culture. But
that's what I mean. It was such a big one. Like, it has its own fucking Wikipedia page, and the
Paul
Wikipedia
is dead.
Paul is dead.
That's what it's called.
Yes, and. Yeah, so the idea, the background to it was apparently in 66, was it? Or 64? Yep, 66, after a argument in the band, he sped off in his car and he died. And,
car crash and died,
of course,
He didn't just die.
No, he just sped off and then had a heart attack. No, he had a car collision. So the Beatles said, fuck, we need a replacement to avoid mass hysteria / mass suicide.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, that was the zeitgeist. Like, everyone was so obsessed with the Beatles, like, that they just all die by suicide, if Paul McCartney was dead.
Yeah.
Bit mad to think now, but I wonder, because Beatlemania was so big then, that I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't come across that bit, but
I'm not saying it's true and that's why, that's why they wanted to find a replacement, but...
So what do they do, Steve?
So they auditioned in secret, a load of people, and Billy Shears apparently is the alleged person who took over. Billy Shears. So apparently Billy Shears, was the replacement. A little bit of plastic surgery, and that was Paul. And it was obviously very convenient because they stopped doing live shows then. They were just in the studio, so they had to train him in. Mm-hmm. And there's of course loads of clues, like even in lyrics, like, here's another clue for you. The walrus was Paul in Glass Onion, and obviously the mention of Billy Shears and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Oh, the best one I found, and there's a load of stuff in every conspiracy theory you find, is backmasked, like reversed audio clips.
Yeah, I love that.
The number nine revolution turn me on, dead man.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, whatever.
Or the big one around it is the Abbey Road cover. The famous one about the Beatles crossing the road outside Abbey Road Studios, guys. Pictures in your mind's eye.
Come on, you all have it.
The idea is Paul's barefooted, so he's the dead man. He's holding a cigarette. John is on all white, so he's the pastor. Ringo is dressed in a black suit. He's the grave digger.
Yeah,
No. Sorry, George is in all denim, so he's the grave digger. Apparently, that's what they wore.
That's what they'd be wearing,
allegedly.
like,
And then
getting their jeans
what would you call
mucky.
Ringo? Then he was the
Priest.
I think he was the coffin bearer. So he held the coffin or
He had to
something.
hold Paul's coffin on his
One
own.
arm. Ringo's really strong.
Ringo's
boy.
a tank. You heard it here
Ringo's
first.
A beast.
Yeah, no one gives Ringo credit for how much of a tank he is.
Take you. Tom's the tank engine, man.
Boy. Oh, yeah.
Run you over.
He would.
I think that's a fun one. I've always liked Paul is Dead. And
it is
how
great.
he actually reacted to it, like they were doing like a Wings tour in like the 80s, and they called it like Paul is Live.
That's exactly, he was very tongue-in-cheek. He was like, Paul is like, dead on. I could talk about one if you'd like.
Okay, you
Do
go.
you see the wild thing of a mongoose? This was the words of someone who wrote in. I don't have their name, sorry, person. Wild thing of a mongoose living in the walls of that gaff out in the Isle of Man. Did you look into that?
Jeff the Mongoose.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think that one's a bit mad. Do you?
We'll give context to our listeners. Basically, up in the Isle of Man in some farmhouse
In the 1930s.
in the 1930s, the family alleged that a mongoose, this little animal creature, like kind of like a ferret thing, lived in the walls and spoke.
They wonder, was it a poltergeist, is like what they think.
No, yeah, psychic investigators thought were like, must be a poltergeist and stuff. That'd be a grand job, huh?
Yeah.
Psychic investigator.
Yeah, because like the reports of what they used to say was, here's a quote. I am a freak. I have hands and I have feet. And if you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone or a pillar of salt. Ooh!
I love it, but what
you reckon, like?
What I like about it as well is he's benevolent. You know, he wasn't like a big spooky Jeff thing.
Oh yeah, he was just there.
He apparently, like, if they left the fire on at night, he'd go stamp it out. He'd chase mice out of the gaff.
Oh, he was handy. He was like a guard.
Yeah, if they slept in, he'd wake them up. So handy, speaking.
Handy speaking, Jeff.
Mongoose. Thanks, Jeff. So I think that's a fun one. Complete bollockology, come on, but I think it's fun.
Well, let's talk about that, but before we do you think it's fucking mad, this is a pure sight engine, that parrots can speak and humans don't give a fuck?
We do give a fuck, we love it.
We love it, but we're not like amazed, but everyone's like, yeah, sure, that's what parrots do. I think I saw a tweet the other day, it was just like, isn't it mad how humans, like humans don't give a fuck, the parrots can speak? And I agree, I'm like, this is actually kind of crazy.
They can speak, but they can't it's more just repetition of noises that it's not, but it's language, so cool. It's not communication.
In fairness, it's so cool though.
Oh, it is.
But sorry, I just thought you'd be a bit more about
whoa, parrots! Boy, sorry. Maybe if I was 6, you know. But
even when I was that age, it was something I was accepted growing up, and it just made me think, that's humans. By anything, something amazing, something happens, everyone just gets over and was like, yeah, that's it now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Jeff the Mongoose.
Like if Jeff the Mongoose could speak and that was it, and it was like more known, it'd be like, he just talks. That's what he does.
Apparently, then the person who sold the house. They had to sell it below he lost money basically to sell the gaff because apparently it was haunted, so no one wanted to buy it at full price. So
do you reckon this is just bollockology that people made up for the crack, or what if it's like, someone actually had mental illness and maybe schizophrenia or something and were genuinely having auditory hallucinations and all that?
With Jeff,
do you reckon that
I don't think so, because just from reading up on it, it was the whole family were in on it. I think they just made it up for a bit of drama. There's no telly, there's no internet,
but you see, that's the thing. And as well, though, I think the way our, maybe it was just the way people used to be thinking back then was like, fucking, you hear something, you just hear literally a creak in the wall and you're genuinely...
A ghost!
Yeah, whereas now it's like, everyone's like, turn the...
Tis
turn to the next page.
Tis just the poltergeist,
It's just our wee poltergeist.
Let's see what I have next.
Go on, give us one.
Steve, if I was to say to you, algorithmically created entertainment, what would you think I'm on about?
Those fucking weird videos on YouTube that are literally just...
Oh yeah, that's actually not far off.
Is that a different thing you're thinking of?
No,
but it's like...
Mine's a bit further than this.
Okay, go on.
I know what you're on. So for what Steve's talking about is essentially you have these really weird cartoons like Spider-Man and Elsa and crack.
That's the...
They're essentially made by algorithms and computers. Humans don't necessarily make them. Mine goes a bit further. Mine's kind of 100 years in the future, so hear me out. This is a mad one now, right? The idea is... the idea is, okay, so already where we are in the 21st century, YouTube, TikTok, all this stuff, They know what we like. Your recommended videos you like based on your viewing habits. It's very simple, but it's how it works. This is just going to keep evolving because technology just keeps going. We bring in a bit of AI. Eventually, maybe in 100 years, maybe for a political reason, we're going to have to get rid of entertainment, okay?
Oh, God.
The reason behind it is you can come up with it yourself. I just want to kind of talk about the technology behind it, this conspiracy of technology. So hear me out. The idea is that you will just take out your phone and instead of watching YouTube videos or TikTok videos or whatever the hell it is, you are just shown essentially a flash of colors and lights on the screen, right? Okay? And what that'll do is that'll be an algorithm that'll do this, that, and the other, and it'll transmit into your brain. And those lights and colours and sounds, and it'll only last half a second or a second, it will tell your brain, you've just watched something really enjoyable. Your brain will think, oh, I watched a really funny cat video, or I watched a really good documentary.
But you won't actually have watched it.
No, it'll just be the AI and the technology is just going to trigger something in your brain.
That reminds you of that.
That'll make you think. Because there's already stuff, you know.
Maybe there's a chip in your brain.
No,
Elon Musk already wants to do that.
Sure, you can
know
do.
What I mean?
That makes it even more
putting
plausible.
Any chip in my brain.
That makes it even less sci-fi. Yeah. If you have a chip in your brain, it turns on the chip. But I kind of,
man, 100 years, a lot's going to happen.
I want to, but the way I'm looking at it is just. It's just pure algorithm and pure. Yeah. They get the sounds and the color, kind of nearly like hypnotic.
Yeah.
And your brain is trained into it in just a little burst. And you go, oh, that was some great entertainment.
I believe
and it's to save time so that we're more productive and we go back to work.
Back to work. Oh my God.
So,
very 1984 shit.
Isn't it very
2084,
sci-fi? I came up with that.
Yeah. Fuck George Orwell, we got Dara Toomey. You come up with that?
I came up with that.
Fuck off. That's fucking... Oh, I'm proud of him, man.
I made up my own conspiracy.
I thought that was something...
I like the way you add on with the chip. It's like, that's even more plausible. My way was that it's a little bit colours and sounds.
It'd be a great story, but at the same time, it's like yeah, you know, I could
chip in your brain. What happens is it just you take out your phone, it flashes some numbers and colours to make it a bit more believable and less crazy sci-fi.
Yeah.
With a little chip that we'll all eventually have in our the backs of our skulls and brains.
It'll
just turn that on for a second, and you will think you've just watched a load of entertainment.
Shit.
So we don't need artists. We don't need podcasts. We don't need singers, songwriters. We don't need art anymore. Will
it be all old stuff from before up until or will it be just made up this artist in the moment?
You will never be able to pinpoint exactly what it was. You'll just go, oh, I watched something really entertaining.
Nice and dystopian.
And it's really fucking dystopian. I mean, it's probably not the most original idea. I bet you there's already a fucking series of novels.
Oh yeah, she thought that was
already. But as far as I'm aware, I came up with it myself. On that point, man, art isn't real. Nothing, there's no such thing as original art. I mean, it's all just inspirations of things we've seen before. Nothing is, we don't create a brand new thing. So I probably ripped someone off, but I can just say it was art.
As we said, there's only 7 stories in the world.
Yes, you love bringing that up. Luke Skywalker, Star Wars.
I've never looked into it, but I've heard that once, and I said, yes.
And Steve it's the hill he's dying on. There's only 7 stories.
There's lads. Right. That's the same story as that.
Hand it over to you, Steve, or the audience. Let's. What you got for us next?
This is one of the audience that I didn't know, and this is really cool.
Okay.
I don't know what the fucking conspiracy is, but I want to talk about it anyway.
What?
Well, the conspiracy is that it never... Okay, I'll just tell you. So, the guy wrote in... Don't have your names, guys, because I actually typed these out. There used to be a nuclear reactor in the bottom of the Kane building in UCC.
Nuclear reactor?
And that's fact.
Holy shit.
But I think the conspiracy that they were going on is that, oh yeah, it's not there anymore, but it fucking is.
A reactor?
I'll tell you here, look. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, what the fuck is this going to be? And I saw an Irish Times article from 2003.
Do you not mean a bunker or something?
Look, we'll go into it now and we'll dive in.
Okay.
So UCC stored the material in the basement of its physics department since 1986. So that was the Kane building. Do you know the Kane building in UCC?
Sure.
And you know it's you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it was load of nuclear. It's very dreary,
Sorry, you said what?
If it was loads of nuclear there.
Okay.
Nuclear power plant.
Steve does the American pronunciation of not just this word, a lot of words.
So,
sorry, moving along.
This is just literally bullet points from the article. It wants to get rid of so this was obviously in 2003. They must have been trying to get rid of it or something.
Yeah.
Which isn't that long ago. It wants to get rid of the material and is facing a bill of several million euro for the transport abroad of the 1,400 uranium slugs along with a supply of plutonium.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So the material has been held in secure conditions behind a big steel door guarded by closed circuit television. What the fuck's that mean? Closed circuit?
CCTV.
You're fucking shitting me. Is that what it means?
Yes.
I thought the waves of the tele. Can we cut that out? So
No.
it don't seem stupid.
No, we're not cut
please.
that out.
Please. Lads, come on. Because I know he's not going to cut this out, but can you see how desperate I look here?
Yeah.
That's what CCTV. Fucking hell.
This is a discovery of the podcast. Steve, no, what did you think it meant? Stood for?
I don't know, but I never questioned it.
Just accepted
I
by
accepted it
sheep.
by I'm a good sheep.
Lambs to the cosmic slaughter.
Good sheep, by. I shouldn't be part of this conspiracy theory podcast because
You're a conspiracy theory.
I am. It's categorized as nuclear fuels and features the remains of a research nuclear reactor, which was used for more than a decade on campus in the university, but is now dismantled. So I guess the guy is like,
I want to go down there.
telling you.
I want to go there.
It was given to the US under in 1974. The reactor was given to, so it is a reactor. Yeah, the reactor was given to Ireland by the US under the Atoms for Peace program.
Oh my god!
The same program supplied India and Pakistan with their first nuclear reactors. So at the time, the government was obviously considering using nuclear power in Ireland, but backed off with I think there was a huge public opposition to the construction of 4 nuclear power plants.
When was this?
In Wexford, 1970s.
Oh, so it was pre-Chernobyl. Interesting.
That's probably when
Because
people...
Chernobyl, no, because the idea
80s.
was that was like mid-80s, and it turned the world off nuclear power, which is one of the cleanest and most efficient forms of power. But everyone was like, "Oh no, look at what could happen."
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
you see, and this was this was 1974 when it was given to them, and I don't know, maybe they were sitting on it for a while or something. Who knows? But the Professor Stephen Fahey, who was the university's head of physics at the time, he was in charge of the reactor's remains, and he said attempts had been made to export the nuclear materials, but definitive plans had still to be made at the time. So I think that's where the conspiracy comes from. It's like, oh yeah, they didn't get it all out, because it's like dangerous and whatever. So who knows? I don't
Basically, there's nuclear material under UCC.
know. I don't know. Maybe obviously they say it's gone. But
would you believe that the original Fungi the dolphin is actually dead and he gets replaced?
I saw that. Yeah.
One of our listeners, Dan, said that.
Did you look into that one?
Well, there's nothing to look into. Is it a fact? Is it fiction? What do you think?
I don't know. Jesus, it's hard to come off that one you made up there a minute ago, boy.
You can't believe anything I say now.
I'm struggling here now.
I think it could be as a marketing thing, because if the original died, then Fungi the dolphin is a big tourist attraction.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of this, is actually a good time to segue into my next conspiracy theory. Have you ever heard of Coke 2?
Coke 2?
Coke 2, Coca-Cola.
Cocaine or Coca-Cola?
No, Coca-Cola.
I have actually.
Or new Coke, as they was
Go
called.
on, talk about it.
So
there's a lot of facts to this, though, isn't there?
There is. This is a legitimate thing. It's just the end. We'll get to the conspiracy at the end, so I'll boot through it. The idea was I think it was the mid-80s, yeah.
They were like, fuck, we better take the cocaine out of Coke.
Hey! No, it was because Coke was doing doing badly in the market.
Yeah.
Pepsi was taking over,
Yeah.
and so what they did was they changed the formula to they made it completely different, and it was called Coke 2. Apparently it was crap. It was shit. And one thing I just took note of here, right? There was public protests, boycotts. Fair enough, yeah, boycott. But in America, they actually held protests and mass poured the Coke 2 onto the streets. Imagine caring that much about a sugar drink. Would you be well? That's the height of privilege, to actually protest. Yeah. I don't like the taste. Right?
It's also was a heavy, Coke was one of the most heavily marketed things in the US in the 20th century.
I like a Fanta, right?
A fucking Fanta.
I'm a fan of Canta,
You are a fan of Canta.
But if they changed the formula and it was crap, I go, oh, pity, and I'd stop drinking it. I wouldn't get up in arms and out into the street and
Did you not riot in 2010 when they changed the Tenora formula?
No, I didn't.
Did you? Were you not part of the riots?
No,
down in Carrigaline.
Yeah, the Carrigaline 2010 Tenora riots.
The Cork drink, apparently they found something very, very bad in the Tenora formula, so they changed it, and it was crap. I remember it. And then they put up a poll. This is weird. They put up a poll on Facebook, the Tenora official page, and said how many of you would like the old formula back. And obviously it was 99% said yes, because the new one was shit. And obviously their sales were fucking plummeting.
Yeah.
So then so if you drink Snore now, it's the original formula again.
Yeah.
So it's like, did they just put that unhealthy shit back in it because they were like, fuck, no one's buying our shit?
The conspiracy behind Coke too, because 3 months later, they brought back in the original formula. They branded a classic Coke, and Coke sales skyrocketed. And apparently, Coca-Cola deny this, but marketers
It's just a way to get it.
Marketers say it's one of the best marketing schemes ever because you purposely release a crap product
So that
it drives the news and everyone's talking about how crap it is, and then you bring back the good one and their sales go up. Brilliant marketing, but Coke are like, I think they said we're not that stupid nor that smart to do that. They claim that it was a genuine, they tried. Maybe it was a case of
bullshit.
cheaper materials or healthier, but the conspiracy is they did it purposely.
I believe that 100%.
But I think
anything marketing conspiracy, I'm like, yeah, that's it.
But I'm
always like,
a lot of viral marketing, you could call it. It's early viral marketing. Let's say it's kind of unintentional.
That's true too.
Earned media.
It's just obviously later with looking in retrospect, you're like, they definitely thought of that, and But it's like, yeah, it probably was a happy accident for them. Like,
well, that's what they claim, but some people are skeptical about it. That's where the conspiracy is. So I think that's quite fun.
They'd want to be very, very smart marketeers to think of that, I suppose, in the 80s.
Do you have a conspiracy for us thereby?
Well, this is one of the ones that I like because it's like, I don't even think this is a conspiracy, but you know about planned obsolescence.
I've heard of it. Remind me and the viewers.
Okay, so the light bulb conspiracy is where it. Yeah. So it's basically the idea that
obsolescence.
Obsolescence.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I can't pronounce words.
That's fine. Apparently, neither can I.
At this stage, look, it's either our obsolescence or obsolescence, or nuclear.
Nuclear.
Sidewalk.
Trunk.
Nuclear. Trunk. Garbage day.
Go on.
So literally it's the case that like things are built to break, that you'll keep buying them. And I mean, I can understand that being a massive conspiracy back in the day, but now it's like, it's just fact because we know it with our fucking smartphones.
I mean, yeah, but then again, they won't admit it, so it's technically conspiracy theories. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Smartphones are built to last
but it's
18
funny,
months or something.
And it's funny, we're just like, okay.
Yup.
Why do we riot?
Because we've accepted it.
We're just like,
which is sad because I'm sure way back when you built a product, you wanted it for 10 years. You wanted it forever.
Of course.
The idea was even with cars. That's all. It's a conspiracy theory with cars as well.
No, it's literally
anything, any technology.
Man. But it's like the light bulb is the one they talk about first because just to get a bit of history on it.
Sure.
The first light bulb was invented in 1809 by Humphrey Davy. But Thomas Edison was the one who wanted to make it like really like light bulbs everywhere. Like, this is the way, no more candles now. In 1979, this is where things are really weird. This is where the conspiracy theorists come in big time.
Cool.
German, I guess, engineer or whatever, made it was Dieter Binninger. I don't know. Anyway.
Benninger?
Probably. Like, I very bad at English pronunciation, let alone German. In 1975, he made a light bulb that was supposed to last for 150,000 hours. That's 17 years without any problems. I mean, how often do our fucking light bulbs go?
The light bulb industry was like, no, you don't.
Literally, yeah. So he died in a plane crash. That was
convenient.
Officially considered an accident. But conspiracy theories think this wasn't an accident, because literally his 150,000 light bulb patent.
150,000 light bulb.
150,000 year. His 150,000 year light bulb patent disappeared immediately after his death.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, very convenient, isn't it? But and there's also ones that are even longer than that. That's not even that mad because there's the Centennial light, right?
Okay.
It's one of the oldest light bulbs, and it's still in use today.
It's still on.
It's still on, and it's never been turned off since, I think, 108 years or something.
Where is it? Where's it on?
It's oh no, I don't have a source for that one. Sorry.
Thanks, brilliant. Thanks, Steve.
Anyway, look, just admit that it's there. It's somewhere. But there, as well as that, there are a lot of light bulbs that were made in Britain after World War II that are still in working condition.
No.
Yeah.
Imagine how great it would be if I'd fork out. No, you wouldn't, you see, at the same time, because everyone, we like new tech. We like the next thing. We like better technology.
I don't want my 50-year-old bulb there. And
I don't want my Nokia from 2002, it still works. But
it would be nice to have the option, wouldn't it?
It'd be nice
as opposed to you have to spend another 500
quid. It'd be nice for things
quid.
like washing machines or dishwashers or cars. You buy a car,
Cars,
have
exactly,
it forever.
boy.
But you see, consumerism has been ingrained so hard into us.
Yeah.
We want the next thing. We want the next flashy thing.
No matter how aware we are of hypercapitalism and all that, we're still
Lambs to the cosmic
we are-
slaughter.
We are like, you know, it's mad.
Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick. It's all about Pickle Rick. So yeah, that's a mad one. Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, I have a good one here. Have you heard about the Duck 2?
Oh, is he on about the glass hammer again? Is he?
Anything else you got by? Anything the audience have come in? What's our next
Oh,
conspiracy?
I have one here, and I fucking love it. Leitrim doesn't fucking exist.
That's not a conspiracy. That's a fact.
And that's what he says, or she, or I forget who it was, but they say Leitrim doesn't exist, and it's not a conspiracy. It's fucking fact, and I agree with you.
Not a what?
It's not a conspiracy. It's a fucking fact.
Okay.
And I fucking agree. You and me were going to make a video. We were going to drive up to
We were.
Leitrim about 2 years
This,
ago.
we were going to drive, literally, after we did like the Guide to Cork 2 or the Guide to Cork, whatever, we were like, go on, let's do some more mad videos. And we were going to drive up to this area that people claim is Leitrim and interview some people and go around and prove that it doesn't exist. But what a fucking waste of time.
Because there's nothing there, lads. You know,
Exactly. Why
there
would you
is
go
no
up to some-
Leitrim. I'm not going to the county bordering
It's just the sea.
Leitrim.
It's just the sea.
There's just a big lake in there.
It's just the sea.
It's our Area 51.
Area 51, that's a nice typical
We should go up to
conspiracy
Leitrim
theory.
sometime.
Where?
Leitrim. Do you know anyone from Leitrim?
There is no one from Leitrim, man.
There you go.
Leitrim
Do you know a fun fact?
What's a fun fact?
Do you know what year Leitrim got their first
2016.
set of traffic lights?
See, answered it before you knew. Time
Which are
travel.
wrong.
What's 2016?
2008.
It's 2016.
It was fucking 2008.
Fuck you.
I'll look it up if you want.
Do.
Right, 2 seconds there.
This is the hill I die on. Go on, read it. And apologise.
Traffic lights had been installed in 2003 and were later removed.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck, I don't want you to be right.
Sorry, I know it's tough, but you know.
2016.
Yeah.
Nah.
What do you say? What do you say to me?
Really?
No.
I fucking...
You don't say really, you say, I'm sorry, Daragh. Say it. Say it.
Say
We're
what?
not continuing the podcast
Say what?
until I get a formal apology.
I don't know what you're on about. I
Who
said
are
it,
you?
2006. Who are you?
I definitely know you
sorry.
from somewhere. Gavin wrote in with a fairly fleshed out conspiracy, and I'll do justice by reading it verbatim, so here we go. During the plague in Europe in the 1340s-ish, big conspiracy, rampant in France but generally all over Europe, that the Jews and lepers had fouled the air and poisoned the wells that caused the pestilence, mass lynchings and torture all over Europe. Science of the day blamed the conjugation of Mars and Jupiter causes a great pestilence in the air, especially when they come together in a hot, wet sign, as was the case in 1345. For Jupiter, being wet and hot, draws up evil vapours from the Earth and Mars. I love old science, this is batshit. From Earth and Mars because it is immoderately hot and dry and ignites the vapours. And as a result, there were lightning, sparks, noxious vapours and fires throughout the air, which is airy-fairy enough for people to disregard and blame the Jews anyway. Mad parallels to today with COVID, people disregarding science and blaming an entire group or ethnic group. So
Yeah.
that's mad. So there was a plague and people decided to blame Jewish people.
Yeah. Are you surprised? Humans are shit.
Yeah.
Just- well, you know, we are like.
The Queen, so Brian wrote in and told us about the Queen and Prince Philip receiving baby blood transfusions for longer life. It's a great one. Search adrenochrome. I've heard that's popped up in timelines
I looked
recently.
it up, but I didn't find much. I was really I really wanted to find people's take on that and conspiracy theory on it.
Okay.
I couldn't find it, but I was like, yeah, apparently adrenochrome or whatever it's called is like something to,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. But I don't know, probably. I mean, look at him like.
They're never dying, like.
She looks grand though. How old is she? She in her 90s yet?
I think she's borderline 90.
She's fresh out for it, like, isn't she?
Yeah.
Well, do you know, like, she's very with it.
Fucking Aaron came in with a conspiracy that I'm actually a Brit.
A Brit, yeah.
Yeah.
You are.
I am.
Wrecked.
Oh, got him. How dare you?
He got you.
Dare you, good sir.
He is though, you know that?
Me.
Man's a Brit.
I challenge you to a duel by That's how our friendship ends. Is one of us kills the other person in a duel.
Do you want to?
I think not yet.
When we get to 80, do you want to say, look,
30.
no, we have to live through every shit thing in our lives.
Yeah, we have to have a long, miserable existence.
If we both get to 90, or if one of us gets sick and we just have the duel, just say, look, get me out of...
I want to be kind of fit and strong.
No, I'd like to live life a bit.
Well, what if you kill me?
It might get better.
Then you get to... it might get...
You know, there's a chance that life will get really good.
Buzz Aldrin punched a guy. He punched a moon landing denier. He like came up... Buzz was being like interviewed, or there was camera crews around him. He was doing a thing, and a guy came up to his face out in public and was like, the moon landing didn't happen. Buzz Aldrin decked him.
Jesus.
Punched him square in the face. Sick of it.
Maybe it did happen, so...
Well, no, I'd say, after decades and decades of literally going to the moon, jumping around on the moon, and just being hassled by these dumb arses.
Yeah.
Moon landing was fake, and he was just like...
He was sick of it, like...
Yeah. He was just fucking sick of it and punched your man in the face.
Fuck you, I went to the moon.
Literally, shut up, boy, I didn't go to the moon. That was Buzz Aldrin. I think that's enough conspiracies for today.
I'm all conspiracied out now,
I'm conspiracied out. I need a bit of real facts.
I love your one. Your one was my favourite, though.
Thanks, boy. Sat down and was
I want to see that
I need to
online.
come up with one.
And I want you not credited for it.
Of course. But man, as I was saying earlier, it probably already exists. There's probably
some version of it.
A sci-fi novella that already has done it.
Yeah.
Let us know, guys. We say this every week. If you enjoyed this podcast, we want to make... we'll talk about anything. Look, it's just the two of us in a room having a chat, having a laugh. If there's a particular topic you want us to talk about, please reach out to us at The Lads Podcast. Look us up on Instagram, or our personal ones, Daragh Toomey, Steve Collins, whatever the hell. We're happy to discuss anything we find interesting. And if you really enjoy this one, we'll do another conspiracy podcast.
Yeah, and as always, that's it. Literally, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
Follow us on Spotify.
Follow us home. Follow us home from the pub.
And if you feel like, you have a little bit of coinage stuck at the end of the couch, and, you're like, fuck it, I'll buy Daragh and Steve a pint this month, you can always donate to the Patreon, patreon.com/The Lads Podcast.
Why do you call it Patreon? I call it
what
Patreon.
The fuck do you call it?
It's Patreon.
Patreon. I don't know.
To be a patron of the arts,
A patron.
A patron of the arts. Look, it's just language and pronunciation. There's no right way.
Well, normally
I
have my Americanism pronunciation.
This is the American.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I listen to mainly the American. That's where you hear from it. But I follow the guy who created Patreon, and he's like a patron. Patreon.
So I'll pronounce nuclear as nuclear.
The 3-syllable American way, which is just...
And yet then I say Patreon.
Yeah. All right.
See you later, Daragh.
See you later, Steve.
Nice one for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cheers. Yeah. No, appreciate it. No, seriously.
We did this joke last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
Stop.
Sorry. Except it was the other way around.
That was a week ago.
I thanked you for coming on the podcast.
All right, well, it's grand. We did it the other way around. So just next week, once we do something else, we're grand.
What?
Yeah. What?
Who are you?
Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the podcast. See you next week.